Hey guys, I figured I would try a little piano interlude instead of dead silence. So, we shall begin. I will set this so that it starts. So those of you that are listening, if you listen live, you will get the piano interlude for the few minutes while we're waiting for people, and then if you don't, I will skip over it so you can just get down to hearing about the development update. So, it's been an eventful week. As you saw, Bittrex on, I think it was Friday, stated that they were no longer servicing U.S. customers. Now, essentially, that really doesn't mean that our market's being stalled, but it just means that would not be able to get started going out and working on getting exchange listings. I'm speaking to a market maker tomorrow. We were originally scheduled today. They said they can help us with all of the other exchanges such as KuCoin, Gate.io, Bybit, all of the ones. So if you have any exchange requests, make sure to post those requests on the response to this tweet when I publish the recording, and that should help. Just make sure that they're your favorite exchange that you want to get listed on to go for it. We've kind of not really pursued exchange listings the more recent past, just because we've been working on getting 5.1 done, but kind of became a priority this last week. So we got Trade Ogre listed. We've been working with them this past week. They are running the 5.1 core, and they're utilizing all of the commands that we have developed as well, such as finance debit any. That was something that we developed for the, let's see, hold on. Sorry, I forgot to do something real quick. Bluetooth. Okay, cool. So, we got them set up with finance debit any so that there's potential for working with it. Then, from here forward, we're going to be continuing to pursue additional exchange listings. So, make sure to publish that as something that you would like to have included, and we will continue to do that. We're in pretty consistent communication with Trade Ogre right now, so if there's any issues or snags, we've been working through that. This is also showing how the 5.1 core is working, which is very good to see. That's out live right now. There's just a few little bugs here and there that we've been having to resolve. Other than that, everything is seeming very good. The mobile wallet, we just released a new beta last week as well, and that has been very positive as well. We've gotten a lot of positive reception from that. We've been working out some of the specific bugs related to SigChains. There was an issue with op migrate. Took a couple rounds to get that right, but that is all fixed now. So everybody that had any issues logging in and syncing, that should be fixed now. We're also, right now, we're working on the filters and queries using the query DSL that's built in to the API. So that's pretty much rocking and rolling. So there might be some slight adjustments from here. It's mostly cosmetic stuff now from this point. And then, yeah, there was a bug with receiving legacy transactions. That's now fixed. I'm just tracking down a couple crashes that happened on the iOS wallet version, and that's pretty much good. Now I'm still wrapping up the 5.2 update, as you know. So everybody knows the release schedule. April 26th, this month, is when we're going to be releasing the desktop wallet. That's pretty much ready to pack and ship. This is part of our, efforts towards maintaining more consistent timelines and predictable timelines for you guys. So that is pretty much ready to pack and ship. We're doing another beta release, I believe, sometime early next week or potentially tomorrow. I'll talk with the other devs about that, and then be prepared. Probably by Monday, I'd expect another mobile wallet beta for both Android and iOS, and that should resolve a lot of the issues. As I stated, I'm adding. I want to add like a synchronization % so you can see your SigChain syncing, because some people's SigChains are very large. It could take, I've seen anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute to get that specifically downloaded. So we want to give a little bit better user feedback on that. I spent a lot of time the last week too for this last update doing a lot of reliability checking. So Phil he's been a really great tester. He got some really nice bugs for me related to being out of cell phone reception and trying to create an account or trying to create a transaction and then having that make sure it stays synchronized with your SigChain. He had a trust transaction come in that his wallet didn't see because he didn't have the bandwidth to receive that, and he created a transaction at that time, which caused some issues with the SigChain. And then so basically it's got a reliability rebroadcasting protocol into it now. So after once every couple minutes, it will rebroadcast your transaction to the network to make sure that the network received it. If anybody remembers the very first mobile wallet release from a couple years ago, if you created an account and you weren't online, the account would not actually be registered onto the blockchain. And transactions, that would be the same. So I've spent a lot of work getting that right and getting the indexing and then being able to build off of the unconfirmed transactions, all of those types of things. So that's been really good. Been really positive to see that. Right now, I'm just doing the last few little things for Trade Ogre to make sure everything's working correctly with finance debit any and all of those types of things. I haven't gotten as much time into the 5.2 features just with exchanges and stuff, but I'm pretty much where I left off or where I spoke last time on that. So we're definitely getting there. Let's see. All right. Now, there we go. All right, sorry, I was just looking at a little bit of code. So yeah, everything's been good. I've been really happy with how everything's been turning out. I'm glad, Trade Ogre was really cool to have worked with us and get us to listed so quickly. Now the 5.2, all of those features are essentially going to be packed with the hard fork. So the hard fork is going to be released after the desktop wallet release. And we've also started some pre-approval processes as well for the Google Play Store and the App Store, so that once the mobile wallet's ready to pack and ship, we should be able to get that out. So phase 1 and 2 and 3 should come fairly close to each other. We're just giving ourselves a good runway this month to make sure we have everything wrapped up and good to go. But otherwise, we haven't had any serious snags of any kind. Everything's been really smooth. Very happy with the progress of what's been going on. I'm really grateful that we were able to get on some other exchange listings so quickly. Some of the other ones like KuCoin or Gate.io will probably take a little bit longer than a week. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that. I'll also get the terms of some of those listing contracts, but this market maker has been really willing to help, and they've been really awesome with us. They reached out a number of months ago to help. I've also started conversations with Komodo for the Atomic DEX, so we're going to be getting listed on the Atomic DEX at some point in the near future. They're assessing the code right now to make sure that our script supports their basic atomic swap operators. So we're getting that kind of tied together too. So I'm in discussions with them and the market makers, and then Trade Ogre and all of that. So we're working on getting the exchange infrastructure decentralized more. But as I said earlier, if you guys see anything that you would like, any specific exchanges that you want to be listed on, you could do that. Just post it to me. And the Trade Ogre was really a community effort. So props and kudos to the community. This is, the power in numbers, virus and numeris. Like, what else can we do together, right? It's really powerful, when people work together. So it's been really cool to see. And sometimes, an apparent crisis can really help bring people together. And I'm seeing that's essentially what's happened. So that's been really positive news. Now, like I said, we'll have new desktop wallet out probably by Monday. Don't take this as a hard time. I'll tweet hard times once we have those set. Sometimes processing takes a little bit longer, like the iOS. If anybody noticed on April 1st, which I totally didn't intend to do it, but it ended up kind of being a pseudo April Fool's joke. I am a private tester, so when I went into test flight, I was like, oh, 093 is out on iOS, and then I posted a tweet, and then Mr. Wu came and was like, hey, is this the right version? I was like, oh, crap, I didn't check that. I have to check it on another device that's not added in test flight to know that it was actually updated. So I deleted the tweet and it was like, April Fools, right? But no, that went out on Monday. As I said, we've had a lot of positive reception from that specific update. A lot of the issues I think people have been experiencing have been resolved now. There's been a lot of idiosyncratic bugs. Phil had an issue where while he was syncing, it was checking get balances, which was also claiming proofs, which was causing his credits to get spent and all of that. It's just, long story short, it's no easy feat getting a node running on a phone, and not just a node, but a smart contract platform running on the phone. But there's no external state that's required. You can process everything within your own local SIG chain, and so that's definitely a very, very it's been a long haul. And Kendall worked his ass off to getting it to compile as a framework for Android and iOS so that we can essentially run native C++ code under our React native code. So if you get any crashes, make sure to please submit those crash reports. Those are very, very useful to me, or handy, so I can start to track down, because if anybody isn't familiar, debugging remotely can be a cumbersome process. So log files and stack traces are my friend in doing that. So I've upgraded the nodes. My seed nodes are upgraded to RC14 now. That's most likely what the next iOS and Android release will be, release candidate 14. Make sure you give your feedback and all of that. By next week, I'll have a better update on the 5.2 progress. I suspect I probably have about one more week of build out, and then a few more weeks of testing, and that should be pretty much ready to go too. So Once that's done on the merging branch, I will post about that too to get some additional developers testing on it and helping test. Sohan or any of you, that would be very, very, very valuable. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's any additional feedback you guys have for the wallets or anything, definitely let us know. This would be a time, probably not for too many feature requests, but we can put that on the roster. If you find any specific issues on the core or whatever, to just submit debug logs to me and submit issues on the issue tracker. That's really important for me. So, yeah. Other than that, yeah, I guess this one's going to be a bit of a quicker recap as well. It's mainly just exchange work and mobile wallet work that's really been focused on. But I feel like we've covered a lot of ground this last week, and we've gotten a lot of new traction. And so we're going to continue to maintain that, and we're going to continue to build from here more and more really nice features. So for you guys to know what's after this, right? I'll go into a little bit about this 6.0. That's going to include pooled staking and the file system. The file system is something I'm putting as a very high priority because that allows you to create decentralized hosting mechanisms. So right now what we're expecting is a remote login and peer-to-peer messaging protocol and the crypto API. Those are additional 5.2 features. And then the 6.0 is going to include pooled staking and file system and all of those really good features because I think decentralized hosting is becoming more and more of a pressing issue. And that's essentially going to allow you to monetize your hard drive, right? And to be able to just submit files into the file system and have them hosted remotely. So that could essentially be deploying a website. And so you're able to essentially track through without needing to do a web server or any of that. It should just right through your wallet be able to upload your new web, and boom, you should have it. So there's going to be some additional stuff that I'm going to be adding. Initially, it's just going to be a file delivery protocol, but additional to that, the file delivery protocol will also have a type of hook in it so that when you hit the page, let's say, and you want to load the file, but you want to add a hook into it, that would allow you to add like a PHP interpreter or any other server-side language, so that essentially you can get like pretty much most of this functionality. We'll have to figure out how to make a distributed MySQL database, because ideally I would like it where you could just one-click deploy a WordPress on Nexus, right? Which will just require a PHP interpreter and the MySQL database, but that'll basically be required to be sharded at some levels. So that might be an opportunity for me to get the LLP SQL working, which will essentially be taking the MySQL protocol and making an LLP with it so that you can drop in the LLD over top of most of your MySQL functionality. And that will give you essentially, distributed database systems, distributed file storage, and then distributed search, right? That's going to be coming around then. So pool staking, you guys are already familiar with that. File system, and then additional to that, probably 7.0, we're going to be doing the DAO global voting layers and the augmented contracts, which is the main principle of the augmented contracts, is allowing you to do operator overloading and op execute. So you'll essentially be able to invoke a remote code without necessarily requiring a contract or a debit or some sort of correlation. Right now, conditional contracts are executed via essentially I have a debit and then I issue a credit, or I have a transfer and I issue a claim, and then I'm validating the conditional contract in order for that to be passed. So essentially what it's going to be doing is allowing you to create any code within an object register that are functions or methods that essentially allow you to invoke that or call that remotely, so that you can have some sort of function inside your object register that modifies a state in some way. And that's really what the result of that will be. Is it's going to really take our smart contract functionality up in par with the full functionality of Ethereum. We're not essentially going to be doing infinite loops and the whole Turing completeness. I mean, because for one, Ethereum isn't Turing complete; it's quasi Turing complete. It doesn't support floating points. We will support floating points because I've got software virtualized floating points working, and the mathematical operators such as logarithms and exponentiation and all that. That's all done and in the core. That's powering Nexus right now. So it'll be really easy to add that as an additional data type for float and double inside our virtual machine, which no crypto, as far as I'm aware, has that capability. And no crypto, as far as I'm aware, either has smart contracts functioning on a mobile device, working in a client mode that requires that much less disk space. So the next iteration of the mobile wallet, as I've said before, I'm going to implement the constant time lower level database. So that'll be the real-time database powering the mobile wallet. That's going to reduce your battery life. It'll also make it synchronize faster. And then I'm going to reduce the size of the blocks too in the chain. So ideally, I'd like to get it to 600 or 700 megabytes, which I think is doable depending on the size of the keychain. So that's another thing to be looking forward to. By the time we get the full mobile wallet, I want it to synchronize really, really fast, or as fast as possible. And so I've upgraded the seed nodes as well that are servicing clients to support, doing a more sequential read. And I had to fix a bug in the sequential read system. If it gets stuck on a 0, it can just get stuck in like a reading loop. So that's all fixed so that I could restore that. So that helps syncing. I've gotten up to 9,000 blocks per second on my local device, which I think that's synchronized in a matter of a couple minutes. So I'd like to keep the synchronization speed really, really low, or the synchronization time, sorry, the speed really high. Also, the new desktop wallet will support client mode as well. So if you aren't staking and you want to keep your coins on your desktop wallet, but you don't want to constantly have to deal with the desktop wallet, essentially functionality, or the mobile wallet functionality, you don't have a mobile wallet, or you don't want to synchronize the full chain or have to bootstrap and all of that, you'll be able to run just a light client over your desktop wallet so that will give you all of that functionality that's required. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this weekly recap. I hope to have a lot more to report on new feature build out next week. It's just the last couple of weeks have really just been a grind, getting the exchanges and getting mobile wallet releases out and getting desktop wallet releases and debugging and stuff like that. But the features, I'd say probably the 5.2 features are sitting at about 60% completed, 70%. So it's really just, I have a couple more protocol messages, and then I have to fire it all up and then add the machinery inside the API to support remote logins, and we'll be ready to start testing that. So ideally, I'd estimate within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to start testing that, probably, this next week to finish the build out, and then a week after that to do some internal testing, which Sohan and Aeonwiser and any of you that want to help with that would be very helpful. And then after that, we'll be ready to kind of have more public developers starting to be able to test that. And so, yeah, it's been a great development update this week, and I look forward to the next weeks from here. I gotta go actually run and fix some bugs right now anyhow. Got some things that I need to tend to. So again, thank you everybody for your time, and I look forward to